Bezat Hashem, we're back here at the Bet Midrash David Chai. And we're going to cover today a different topic a little bit. Bezat Hashem, Mitzvoth Deoraita. Mitzvoth Deoraita, the past week, and today we're going to still be Nogea Be'inyan, which is Chashuv to the parasha. It's connected to the parasha. The Torah tells us you're prohibited to get married to your relatives, right? To your mother, the Torah tells us, to your sisters. And now, today is the mitzvah, is going to be mitzvah number 197, telling us we're not allowed to marry our aunt, my father's sister. And mitzvah number 198 will discuss I'm not allowed to marry my mother's sister. So my father's sister is prohibited, and my mother's sister is prohibited. But what's the connection to this parasha we just read on Shabbat? What did you read on Shabbat?
Meaning even if she's young.
No, it doesn't matter if, not even. Doesn't matter. Maybe if she's the oldest babushka. Doesn't matter. Right? Oh, very good. The question is, wait a minute. What do you tell us? Last week we learned meticulously, what is the problem with me marrying my sister? What's the problem? The best shidduch in the world. The best marriage that will be is a brother and a sister. Theoretically speaking, why? Because they're both groomed for each other. They know what makes the other tick. So now you're going to tell them, shalom bayit, ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha, means you have to love your wife like you love yourself. And if you know exactly what ticks your sister, what would you do? You're not going to make her upset. What's the purpose of marriage? What is the purpose of marriage? The only sole purpose of marriage is to bring the next generation. So let me marry my sister. I know exactly what's going to make her upset, and she knows exactly what's going to make her upset, and we're both going to care for each other, and for sure we're not going to harm each other, we're not going to kill each other, we're brothers and sisters with the same blood. By the way, today is the 26th of Tevet, Sunday, the first day of the week of Parashat Shabbat Bo. This is the week of the Bo, right? I wanted to be Magdim for people on YouTube. Alright, anyway, so this is a good question, no? How do I know this to be true? Very simple. What is the best marriage that is allowed? For an uncle to marry his niece. It's a mitzvah. Aunt to marry her nephew, it's asur. This is what we talk about today. Mitzvah 197 is prohibited. For an uncle or to a nephew to marry his aunt. Either from the father's side, 197, 198 is from the mother's side. Okay? But the best marriage, the outcome, is the uncle, either the brother of the father or the brother of the mother, marrying their niece, and it's a mitzvah. We see that a few weeks ago it was a big punishment to who didn't let his daughter marry his brother. Who was punished for that? Yaakov Avinu. Beautiful, you're on top of the parashiyot I see today. Baruch Hashem. You see that Yaakov Avinu was punished, and the Gemara says over there, it's a big mitzvah to give your sister to your daughter to your brother. Big mitzvah. Why? This way, that first of all, it's a guarantee that your brother will never harm her. Who will want to harm his niece? He will never harm her, and he will be staying with her, and that's it. There's no. Okay, so now this is what we discussed last week. What happened was, why I'm not allowed to be with my mother or my sisters? It goes like this. It is not befitting for a son to have children with his mother. It's outrageous. And his sister. It's going to be, it's going to be haram. It's going to be, who is this child? This child is from what? From that. So what would happen automatically? People will not want to have children with these people. So either A, there will be abortions, which is murder, which is punishable by death, or B, they'll spill outside, which we see by Aaron and Anan, that what they did, and they get punished by marriage, they get killed. So, technically speaking, Kadosh Baruch Hu does not want us to marry our relatives. One of the primary reasons the Chinuch mentions is because people will not want to have children with their relatives because it will be a gnai. It will be a despised idea. Who is the child? The child is from his mother. Who is the child? From the sister. Who is the child? From his granddaughter. From both sides. All the Torah, which was all the Yisurim we mentioned yesterday, and one of the Shorashim, one of the Yesodot, one of the foundations that Chinuch builds, is that people will not want to have children from their relatives. And therefore, what's the purpose of marriage? The whole and sole purpose of marriage is only for one purpose. The only purpose you're allowed to be married to a woman and actually take her to your bedroom for one purpose, is to bring the next generation. Everything else is asur. Everything else is prohibited, just for fun, just for pleasure. Shem Rachem, it's not so easy. Not so simple. Okay? So now, but the question is, the question is, how come Amram married his aunt yesterday? We learned yesterday. Amram married Dodato, Yochebed, his aunt. Right? So the answer is very simple. We know about before Matan Torah. Before Torah was given. Let me tell you more than that. By us, we have a Yisur. We learned last week. We're not allowed to marry our sister from both sides, from the father's side and from the mother's side. Do you know by Goyim, by Mitzvoth Noach, it's mutar to marry a sister from the father's side? Halachically, no problem. According to the Hashem, he has zero problem. He has a problem with them marrying a sister from the mother's side. Same father.
An aunt.
Same father. No.
Sister.
No. Same father is asur. Same mother is asur. Same father is mutar. So let's say a father has 5 wives. And he has daughters from all those 4 other wives. And the one boy is for that 5th wife. The boy is allowed to technically marry all 4 daughters. 4 wives from each wife. According to Hashem, he has zero problem with that. However, he's not allowed to marry his mother. Even his mother married 5 men, and she has 5 girls from them, and they all died. Whatever it is, whatever happened. Now he has 5 sisters from it, right? Half sisters, not from his father. There will be asur.
His mother remarried.
Yes.
For whatever reason.
And she has children, and she has girls. He's prohibited to marry her. That's what we learned last week, right? Mm-hmm. Now, but here. So here's the answer. The answer is, why was it allowed? That the fact of the matter is, before Matan Torah, this is called the 2,000 years of Bria. Bria. People, who did Adam Rishon marry? Chava. Wait a minute. How many people did Hashem create? Adam and Chava, right? Now, who did their children marry? Sisters. Married their sisters. So what's going on here? So the 2,000 years, there was no other option. That's beautiful. Very good. Very good. Now, and that's why actually Cain killed Hevel, because Cain was born with 1 girl as his wife. Hevel was born with 3. 2 him and 2 sisters for him to be his wife. So basically, how HaKadosh Baruch Hu designed the world was that each boy was born with his wives. Okay? And one of the things that was a whole distortion over there, that Cain became jealous of Hevel. How come he has 2 wives and me only 1? Okay? Which by the way, which is
I think that was different.
No, which is a wrong calculation. That's us, by the way. That's how we live our lives. How come he has this? How come this? Do you know?
Yeah, but they were part of the actual creation.
Hold on a second. Before you don't go that far.
And they were like, they were born adults.
Hold on. How many children did Dan? Well, no, they did not born as adults. That's not true what I'm saying. They were born regular babies, but overnight they already start walking. That's a different story. That's midrash. But anyway, that's not the point. The point why Cain made a mistake, it was not understanding. By the way, what does it say about Dan? How many children did Dan come to Mitzrayim? Anybody know?
Like 2 or 3.
1. Hushin. And a deaf person. He came with 1 child. 1 boy. Other girls, he had girls, whatever. 1 boy. What was the biggest army when the Jewish people came out of Egypt? Who was the biggest army? Dan. 74,000 plus. 74,000. So, Binyamin, by the way, came in with how many boys? 10. The Torah tells us, right? Come on, guys. He's giving you all the names. Everything is mentioned. Come on, be on top of the parasha a little bit. So, Binyamin came with 10 children. How many army soldiers they came out with? 22,000, something like that. Very small, the smallest one. He was the smallest one from all the children. He came in with the most. So you see, what's his name? At first, a large number doesn't mean anything. So Cain came and he's upset with Hevel, who had 2 wives. Habibi, do what you need to do. You have a family. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in charge. Here we have a problem. The problem is, we said, that the Torah prohibits us. 197, shelo lavo alachot ha'av. You're prohibited to marry the sister of your father. Shene'emar, as it says in the Torah.
Your father has multiple wives?
No, it's multiple wives.
Your father's sister.
Why?
If your father...
He
I'm sorry,
understood.
the father's sister, I'm sorry.
Habib, are you wearing are you outside like an interruption over there? That's why you're distracted. You're really distracted, I see. He's really distracted. Come. Okay, Baruch Hashem. You're not allowed to marry your father's sister, your aunt. Okay? Why? שנאמר, ערוות אחותך, אביך לא תגלה. ערוות אחות אביך. You're not allowed to be with the sister of your father. That's what the Torah says. לא תגלה. You're not allowed to be with her. משושי העריות כתבנו מה שידענו. So now, what's the problem? The problem is like this. The first 2,000 years, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was building the world. But then, it stopped. From the Matan Torah, it's already, now there's rules. Who you're allowed to marry, who you're not allowed to marry. You're not allowed to marry Goya. You're not allowed to marry Kutim. You're not allowed to... There's so many different Gerim, right? Who's allowed to marry Kohanim? You're not allowed to marry Gerim. All the spiel, right? Who's what, when, and how. The whole rule. There's so many rules. So now what's going to happen? It's a Gnai. Same scenario. Hacham says over here, the Chinuch says, you're going to marry her. Whose child is this? This is the child of, he married his aunt. So what's going to happen again? People are going to do again what? They're going to kill the baby. They don't want that. They're going to do a chas v'shalom abortion, right? Or they're going to spill out, they're going to not have children. So what's the purpose of marriage? So the Torah tells us, don't get married, don't touch her. Okay, Medinei mitzvah, ma she'amru zichronam livracha, the rules of this mitzvah, the sages told us, she'isur achot av ben shehi achot le'aviv, min ha'av levad or min ha'em levad. So now the rule is like this. We discussed what happens if his father had multiple stepfathers, or he had multiple stepmothers. So it doesn't matter. It's half sister, half from either side. The Torah told us you cannot marry his sister, the father's sister. Doesn't matter if half sister from which side. Doesn't matter. Uben shehi achoto min hanisuin, ben min haznud. Or chas v'shalom, there was marriage, or chas v'shalom, there was a foul play, and the woman get pregnant. His father pregnant another woman, and that woman became a girl, and now you're prohibited to marry her because it doesn't matter how. If his father had a sister, no matter what way he got the sister, it's prohibition to marry her. Now, what's the problem today? Today we have, I know we have children here, but there's there's banks and the whole zach over there, right? Things are happening. That's why marriage is not a simple thing. A person should be meticulous who he's marrying, where, how, by us, Bukhari, and Chakirot, the real way. The real way, you go back. Where did you, on what street you live in Samarkand? What street you live in Tashkent, Bukhara, Habibi? We want to know exactly everything. That's the right way.
It's a problem.
That's right. No, today you have crazy ladies in Israel getting pregnant without husbands. They go to the banks and the whole zach. Well, doctors and they're there. Who's this child? Who is this from? It's not so simple. Not so simple. That's why you have to be very meticulous. Doesn't matter how. Now all of a sudden this guy, there was a man, 89 children he had. Nobody knows what we're now. It's not so simple. Today's generation, you have to be so. She's tzaddiket. She did tshuva, and she's Habibi chakirot. I was very upset. I was very angry. I was actually angry at the Syrian community. Why? Gerim not allowed. I was very angry at them. How dare you?
That's because they had
Hold on. Because I don't care about the reasons.
A lot of these
I didn't care about the reasons. But then I realized, wait a minute, but it's true. You know what? But they made a beautiful decree, but they added something there. There is gerim. We allow gerim. Don't let anybody fool you. The Syrians, they love gerim. From who? From Beit Din Yerushalayim. Any ger comes from Beit Din Yerushalayim, accept it. No questions. Their decree is against that, to discriminate against them. And Chus Yerushalayim, I know gerim over here hardly read. Hardly know halachot. So how do you become a ger? No, because he's already married. You know how many gerim today? Because it's a mitzvah together. I understand. Okay. Who says that I have to marry my son off to them? Or my daughter to their children? Where does that come from? There's a way we have to be very meticulous. We have to be very careful who, what, where, now. Where we going? I'm not going against Gerim. Give me a ger from Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh, where the Beit Din is very meticulous. Good, that's a good ger. Everything else is a shayla. Over here, I'm witnessing Rahman al-Islam, Gerut. Look here. What's her name? The most famous ger today in the world. Dancing with her husband on the stage, kissing, half naked. That's a ger? You know who I'm talking about, right? Last week, an inaugural ballroom, whatever. How dare you? How dare you? Are you a ger? Rahman al-Islam. ואין כאן מקום לשניות דיני המצוות בסוף הסדר תראה מקומן. Okay, so now all the rules are related to the marrying the aunts, all from any side, whoever it is, from the father, from the half of brothers sisters, doesn't matter. Everything is discussed. ונוהג איסור זה בכל מקום בכל זמן. It doesn't matter where the Jews are, you're completely prohibited from marrying your aunt, and there's no question about it. ועובר עליה ושכב את אחות אביו במזיד חייב כרת. Now, somebody who went ahead and had a relationship with the aunt, he gets karet, his neshama gets destroyed. Beshogeg, maybe chatat kavor, if it was by mistake, whatever it was, without intentional sin, then he has to bring a sin offering in Beit HaMikdash. Mitzvah number 198 today. Okay, ervat achot imecha lo tigale. So the same rule. Now we discussed everything from the father's side. What about from the mother's side? Same concept. Anything that has to do with the mother, from the mother's side, from either her father had another daughter or her mother had another daughter from different men, it doesn't matter. Whatever we just discussed that related to the man, same thing related to the mother. Shlo lavo alachot em. How do we know that? The Torah says specifically, sheneemar ervat achot imecha lo tigale. You're prohibited to marry a sister, the sister of your mother. So everything that we just discussed is applied to the mother. Anybody wants to stick around, we're going to go into Hilchot. Ariel Hashem asked me to do Halachot Kibud Avayim. And we're going to go in Shulchan Aruch. Have a wonderful day, those that have to go.